I don't like your peaches, they are full of stones. I like bananas because they have no bones.
Hello, welcome to EME News 78. I'm your host, broadcaster. Today's top stories: Timmy has fallen down yet another well. More monkeys may be going to space, we don't know. A special report of DNA replication. Really? Okay. And more. But first, the weather with Charles Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Brad. Hello, my name is Charles Wilson. I think it's gonna storm. I should probably go inside. Okay, back to you, Brad.
Thank you, Charles. Okay, and our next story comes to guy by Matthew Campbell Young, a dashing young fella, I must add. He's going to be telling us about DNA replication, so we'll move on to him, and then we'll come back to you. On to you, Matthew.
DNA Replication and Structure by Matthew Campbell Young. That's me! But what is DNA, and why does it need to be replicated? Well, first of all, DNA is a building block for all life. It is in your genes, it is what makes you you. But it is not an organism, so it cannot sexually reproduce, meaning we need DNA replication. Replication is the thing we're going to be explaining today, so pay attention. DNA replication occurs during synthesis and interphase. Interphase is a process during cellular reproduction where genetic information is created and stored in a process known as DNA replication. No way. This can be explained two different ways. You can do the simple way, you can do the more detailed, complex way. We're going to be doing both in this video, so enjoy. The simple way of putting it, or the 30-step process, goes as such. Number 1, H2 bonds between the nitrogen bases are unzipped. In those unzipped things, free-floating nucleotides fill in the missing base pairs, and the end result will have 2 complementary strands. But before we get into the more detailed steps, I want to go over those nitrogen bases which we just touched on. What are they? Well, they're the things that make up your DNA. They are thymine, they are cytosine, they are adenine, and they are guanine. Now, thymine and adenine go together, and cytosine and guanine go together. There are the little bands between the double helix. They're very important for figuring out your DNA. So, let's go on to the more detailed steps now. Okay, the 4-step process, or the detailed steps, start off as the same as the 3-step, more simple steps. So, again, the DNA is unzipped, but this time they explain what. The what? Helicase. It's an enzyme. What's an enzyme? These are enzymes. The 4 enzymes that make up DNA replication. And as you can see, DNA helicase is an enzyme that unwinds the double helix by breaking down the hydrogen bonds between the complementary bases. Now, there are 3 others, and we're going to go over those too. So, stick around. And that second enzyme is primase. Now, what does primase do? Primase is basically the thing that tells the next enzyme what to do. So it lays everything out, sort of like an architect. Okay, but why is step 2 important, though? Well, step 2 important has primase, and primase is important to DNA replication, but it's also important to me and you. Because like any of us, anything that has DNA, primase decides what that DNA has. So it decides your genotypes, it decides your phenotypes, and it's important to seeing if you have like mutations. It's important to seeing if you have Down syndrome, if you have any sort of mutation, or just basically the fundamentals of what you are physically and genetically. Now that we've gone past step 2, we can get into the actual hard work of DNA replication, step 3, which is done by polymerase. Now, what does polymerase do? It fills in the DNA strands using the 3'5" and the 5'3" lagging primases. Now, these are just when nucleotides are built in, and they make up what the DNA is. So basically, step 2 plans it out, and step 3 actually builds it. Step 4 is actually quite simple. So basically, the enzyme ligase will glue everything that polymerase did, and you have a new strand. So we finished DNA replication. But why? Well, DNA replication is important. Without DNA replication, we wouldn't be able to reproduce or evolve. So, yeah, kind of important. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.
Thank you, Matthew. That was very educational. Okay, over the time it took him to present, Timmy has been arrested. What? You're joking. Apparently, Timmy has fallen down yet again the same well. As we give you reports, we'll go back to Charles. Charles?
Yeah, hi, Charles here. They locked me out. Can you let me in, please? Storm's getting kind of close. I don't want to get wet. Please?
Anyway, okay, Timmy's been rescued again. We have close surveillance on him, so hopefully he won't fall down a well again. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a good day. This is Broadcaster signing off yet again.
I don't like your peaches, they are full of stones. I like bananas because they have no bones.